Hello everyone and welcome to 4 Kilobyte Shorts Let's Play of BioShock 2. BioShock 2 continues after BioShock 1, about 6 years after the events of BioShock 1. You play as a prototype, I guess you could say, prototype Big Daddy, who has the ability to use both plasmids as well as heavy weaponry. Um, there are some issues with this game, and I will say issues in the fact that it didn't get a lot of rave reviews, and I think a big portion of that comes from the multiplayer, because the multiplayer really wasn't that good, and it did kind of take away a lot from the main game. But where BioShock 2's story kind of peters out and falls down on its face, the atmosphere that it presents is such a huge contrast in comparison to BioShock 1 that alone is enough for it to stand out for me, at least, because the developers and designers did such a great job at making BioShock, the city and the culture and the people of BioShock 2 stand out as more human and as a more humanist place, or a place where humans would be, than BioShock 1 did. Now, BioShock 1 did a great job. It was a great game, absolutely wonderful game. But BioShock 2, culturally speaking, socially speaking, I guess you could say, did such a much better job at making the city feel alive, rather than just the main character and the two or three people that he interacted with, but the whole city feel alive. And it's really important that that gets portrayed. And so because of that, we are going to be doing, or I'm going to be doing, a Let's Play of BioShock 2. And the whole trilogy thing, BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite, of course. And so let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to do a new game. Now I'm going to play this on hard because, you know, why not? But we are keeping the Vita chambers on, so if I die, I don't have to worry about reloading and replaying a huge section of the game, because I do tend to forget to save. I guess so many do I forget to save. So let's just go ahead and jump right in and see how that works. Now, as I said, they did add gamepad support. I believe I said that. Yeah, well, they did add gamepad support to this game on the PC version. For the longest time, it did not have gamepad support, and just, I guess, in a very recent update, they added it. So as you can see, press left stick to crouch. So I'm really excited about that, because now I get to use my gamepad. So 1958, Beneath the Atlantic Ocean. That would be 4 years, I believe, before the incidents of BioShock 1, which happened in 1962. Adonis, Rapture's finest spa and getaway.
Look, Daddy, it's you.
Oh, I'm so cute, and I can open wine bottles.
Let's go out to play, Daddy.
And there we are, a very unique Big Daddy. Now, the uniqueness of us does get explained throughout the game, so I'm not going to go ahead and explain any of it right now. Andrew Ryan, looking hale and hearty, considering what lies in his future. I feel sorry for the man. Very pretty dress for a very dead lady. Looks like somebody bopped her for her Adam.
More angels, Daddy. This way.
And just 2 rooms over, a fancy dress party. I like how the lady was upset about the little sister. Oh my god, that horrible thing came through my party.
Come with us, little girl.
This won't end well for you guys. Ow.
You want some, big guy?
See, now you just pissed him off.
Here they are! Hard
Hit. Bring it.
Get out of here, freak!
See, now that's just cheating.
There we are. He's perfectly safe now. This is not your daughter. Do you understand? Her name is Eleanor, and she is mine. Now, kneel, please.
I'm very glad they didn't make her say, "Would you kindly?"
Remove your helmet. Take the pistol. Place it against your head. Fire.
Like, that's a good thing to show your kid. You're a great mom, lady. That's not traumatizing or anything. Horrible woman. "10 years later," which of course makes it 1968, which is about 6 years after the incidents of BioShock 1. Just so we know where we are in the timeline.
Hello, can you hear me?
Worst hangover ever. Well, someone was kind enough to put my helmet on. That's nice. Alright, here we are.
In the house upside, cellar's top floor, attic's ground. In the house upside down, laughing cries, and smiles frown. In the house of upside down, found is lost, and lost is found.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard that. I'm hoping that you did, so if you're not wondering why I'm just staring at the wall. It was a little sister reciting In the House of Upside Down, which apparently is a poem or a nursery rhyme of some kind. Very interesting. Never really heard that before, but it is something I heard recently, and I was like, have to show that off. Don't know why they put it there, but they did, so there it is. And so here we are in Rapture, 1968, 6 years after the incidents of BioShock 1. And as you can see, it's not exactly 100%. Now, you guys may remember me mentioning the fact that I love the atmosphere of this game, like the culture of this game. And this room, these first few rooms, honestly, throw that out there. And more, like, they just, like, throw it on you like crazy. And I'm just going to try to point out a little bit of it, and I don't want to waste your guys' time, but I'm going to try to point out a little bit of it. Mostly in this room, it's just the decay, not destruction, but the decay. Like, you have coral growing, you have these banisters warping, you have the roof leaking, and the seaweed growing through, and the barnacles growing on the wall, the walls toppling over, even the couches and stuff are just falling apart. And this right here, just this whole first room just basically shows that Rapture is falling apart, not because of destruction. Hello, sis. Not because of destruction, but honestly because it's neglected. It's neglect. That's what's causing this thing to fall apart. It's just no one's here to keep it running. And that's so awesome that they put that into the game like that. That just by making it look grungy and gross. And like having coral grow and having seaweed grow. That's just really awesome to me. Okay, let's go ahead and get out of here. Nope. Let's get out of here better. There you go. And then we have, well, this is a tutorial hallway, but I will say that this hallway is very realistic in its design, at least except for this pillar, which would not be in this hallway unless there was a flood. But it's very realistic in its design because it's gross and... little sister. It's gross, it's moldy, it's wet, it's cold, the lights aren't even working. This whole hallway right here basically says, Rapture is dying. And that's really awesome. Adonis, Rapture's finest spa and getaway. Now, of course, we will be seeing new advertisements in this game. There's going to be a little bit of a disconnect between this game and BioShock 1 because of new advertisements, but we're going to ignore that because BioShock 1, the guys who developed BioShock 1 didn't know they were going to add advertisements to BioShock 2. And, of course, that was a big sister. Big sister. Dialogue. Let us listen.
Lesson 1, Mop Jockeys. You are under the ocean now. If you feel the soft patter of rain on your hat, you're already fired. Lesson 2. You can jumpstart a dead generator with a direct spark, but clear the guests out of the pool first. Scares these rich pricks to watch a working stiff hurling thunderbolts. You follow me?
I follow you, Big Kate. Invigorating, electrifying, feel the spark of vivacity at the fingertips of our specially trained therapists. Get current with Electrobolt at Adonis Luxury resorts. That's really hard to read sideways. 1540. Now here's an addition to BioShock 2 that I really enjoy, which is the fact that if you have a code for a door, as you can see, the code is then portrayed on the right, and you don't have to go through a dialogue or anything else to try to figure out where the code was, which is really awesome. Very helpful when unlocking doors. Oh, hello, young lady. They also added new food. We have Gaynor Peaches, because before, if you remember, we only had snack cakes and energy drinks, and that's all you had for food. Well, you had like coffee and I think beer, but no real food. And in this particular version, and in BioShock 2, they added additional food items, which is totally cool because that actually adds, as I said, to the culture of the game. Like, because people down here wouldn't want to just eat fish and seaweed. They'd want to eat real food. They'd want to eat surface food. And of course, you'd want to transport that down, and you'd find that everywhere. You'd find surface food all over the place. And so it's nice that they added that in there because that extends the reality of the game simply by adding real food rather than just snack cakes and coffee.
My husband is such a perfect idiot. Throws away all his spending money on gene tonics to affect a look of physical fitness. So he'll have an excuse to sit on his rear all day listening to radio serials. Steven, I tell him, you want to be fit? Come swim laps with me, the old-fashioned way. It's your mind that's atrophying. Maybe I'll start sneaking some brain boost into his daily regimen.
So Rochelle Jacques basically just said, now if you guys remember from my BioShock 1 Let's Play, I did mention that the gene trader was an idea for a storyline where people who, are those live butterflies? I don't even know. I'd always think they're paper butterflies, but honestly, where would you find live butterflies down here? Odd. Anyway, where you had the sign that said Gene Trader, and you had people who would do tonics, and then those people who wouldn't, and of course you had the idea that maybe they went to war. Unity and Metamorphosis by Sophia Lamb. So that must be Sophia Lamb. Anyway, and so you'd have them going to war with each other. That dialogue basically said the same thing. It's like, oh honey, why should you like go out and exercise? Why should you swim laps? Why should you jog around the pool? Why should you go and do those things? Why should you go to the gym when you can just take a tonic and make yourself fit? Like, I'm not fat. I just take a tonic and all the fat goes away. And here's this woman going, my husband's an idiot because he's not exercising. He's just making himself look fit. He's still going to die of a heart attack, but at least he'll look like he's exercising. And it's totally awesome that they put that dialogue in the game, because that shows like how people would be on opposite sides of the spectrum, where they would say, like, I would use gene tonics for everything. And I think even you guys, or even myself, we would have certain tonics we would use and certain ones we wouldn't use, just because that's our preference. And it's really awesome that they put that in there as a gene tonic thing, or as a dialogue.
Father!
Yes, Eleanor? Come soon to come find me. Please hurry, Daddy. From Eleanor. Now I'm going to be a little bit of a devil's advocate here and say, where did you get fireflies under the ocean? Just a thought. Just a little bit of a thought. I know it sounds silly, but they have fireflies at all these little depots that she gives you, and it's just really odd that they have fireflies under the ocean. Our first plasmid. Gonna mainline it. Creepy. It's not much different than BioShock 1 though, except that, of course, was a tube specifically designed for mainlining. Ow.
Daddy was sleeping for such a long time, and Eleanor has missed you. Find her and you'll be all better.
That probably would make more sense if they explained why I feel bad. Oh.
Daddy!
There she goes again. Big sister. Well, before we leave, let's go ahead and explore Treatment Room 2. Money! And of course, because we are playing a new game, we do have new plasmids. And with new plasmids come new advertisements. Sounds like you need to slim down. Orion Industries Tonic. So we have that, and I think there's one over here as well. Yes. Look 20 years younger. Rejuvena. Skin tightening tonic from Sinclair Solutions. Used with pride by Jay Steinman. And of course, that shows exactly, as I was saying about new advertisements, where new advertisements wouldn't appear in BioShock 1, because if this did appear in BioShock 1, it would absolutely be in the medical lab without questions, or medical pavilion without question. But we can't blame the developers for not having advertisements that weren't invented in their game. Rapture's Best and Brightest, 1952. Dr. Suchong, Sophia Lam, Andrew Ryan. Now this guy here is he's new. I don't know his name. He's new to BioShock 2, but he's basically Suchong's second. He's like Suchong's assistant, or he's the Suchong of this game is basically what it is. And then we have Dr. Tenenbaum, and name I cannot remember. Plinkety Plink Plink. What's his name? I'll remember his name later. But yeah, we have the musician guy who's like bat crazy. Honestly, just crazy. I'll remember it at random, I'm sure. Ooh, shocking enemy. Goodbye, sir.
We shan't save the likes of you.
I think. Well, we don't need it. But there's potted meat. Love potted meat. Is this a book? Practical Eugenics. Eugenics, really? So eugenics, of course, for anybody who doesn't know, eugenics is the act of breeding people to create an offspring that has the best genes of both the parents. And you just do that over and over again, generation after generation, until you've created the perfect being.
At last, a signal. You, who are bringing this dead city to life, listen. My name, it is Tannenbaum. I know who you are, and I am in much need of your help. Please, find me in the Atlantic Express train station.
Well, now we have our destination. We gotta go to the Atlantic Express train station. And does anybody else think that Big Daddy was moving a little bit fast to be under 200 tons of water? Just a thought. Honestly, I think his animation was a little bit fast, but I won't complain too much. And if for anybody who noticed, this is a very similar introduction to the BioShock. Very similar introduction as BioShock 1 with the whole, panels coming down and everything. Calcio, most effective milk substitute on the market. 32% of your recommended daily dose of cow juice. Calcium. So, once again, new advertisements. Kashmir Restaurant. For the exotic, entertaining, pleasurable dining experience. Yes. Now, here's something I really, really, really love about this game right here. Watch this. Now, this is one of the reasons I think the game should not have gotten such a bad rap. With that few seconds of animation right there, the developers basically just explained how Rapture's still standing. Now, if you look way out there, you can see those buildings. I think that's like a building falling apart, and that building's falling apart, and you can see cracks and holes in the building. So the buildings are falling apart, but the Rosies are trying to keep them together by, putting things together. And they kind of showed that a little bit in BioShock 1 when you're coming in on the intro, but there's so much stuff being shown to you that you don't really notice that there is a Rosie welding on one of the stanchions. But you come through right here and they show a massive leak, and then the Rosie just puts a couple bolts in it and boom, fixed. And that little itty bitty animation right there basically explains why the city has not gone under. And I think that's so awesome. And it's little things like that if you're not paying attention and then if you miss, that can really make you think the game sucks when it doesn't.
To my daughter, Eleanor, soon you will be born, and Rapture will be your home. You shall be raised as I was, to advance the common good through social psychiatry. This city's potential is immeasurable, Eleanor, yet our beliefs are unwelcome here. Life will be difficult, but the price of revolution is always dear. If we are patient with her, Rapture will come to us.
Okay. Now, I'm not sure how to do this automatically with the plasmid, so I'm just going to do it like this. I'm sure it'll tell me when I run out. So yeah, as I was saying, with these first few rooms, it's really awesome that they show you all this stuff, and you can miss it. You can honestly miss it. You can just walk straight through and miss it all, and so that's kind of why I'm showing it to you. And as the game progresses, I won't be showing you quite so much stuff, because it does kind of lose out its flavor after a while. And you really don't see it as much, but in these first few rooms, they so separate themselves from BioShock 1 and the culture of the game in so many ways. And we'll continue to see that here in the next couple of rooms as well. So let's go ahead and go.
I haven't had a taste of Adam in weeks.
I don't need to hear your grousing. Go running to the lab if you're so desperate.
Maybe I will. I'm sick of digging through muck for a scrap to eat.
I said quit complaining! Tiresome fucking hag. Well, this could be a little more hygienic.
This is Dr. Sophia Lamb with a message for the people.
Yes?
Remember, you are not alone. Think of me not as leader, but as mother to the Rapture family.
Now, that was very Xerxes, the way she did that. Like, if you guys remember Xerxes from System Shock 2, I was like, remember, blah, 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 blah. Well, she did a very similar thing. But I did want to point out these two splicers. Think about it. Have you ever seen a splicer, like two splicers in BioShock 1, who were standing right next to each other, who weren't beating the crap out of each other, ever? I don't remember ever seeing them. Anytime there were two splicers in the room, they were always trying to kill each other. But these two splicers right here, they were arguing. Like, they were just arguing. They're like, ah, blah, blah. You know, like two married people might argue. And they were like, we just want food. We're no longer fighting. We're no longer hunting for Adam. We just want food. And so in this game, you really don't see splicers fighting as much. They mostly come after, you know, you because you're a big daddy and your little sister. But it's really interesting how they converted that. How in BioShock 1, it's like splicers are after everybody, including you. But in BioShock 2, it's like they're not killing each other anymore. The war is basically over, and they know it. There's, you know, Fontaine is no longer around, Ryan's no longer around, no one's around who makes them fight anymore. So they're just kind of, you know, like the whole pheromone thing. If you'd like to take that line, but anyway, they're no longer fighting. It's totally awesome. Of course, more advertisements. Splice nice, new animal magnetism from Fontaine Futuristics. Ugh. And of course, Rapture's best and brightest again. Now, this dialogue kind of upsets me because it's a Tenenbaum. And Tenenbaum is currently talking to you, and she could tell you what's on this dialogue. And the reason this dialogue upsets me is the fact that if you don't find it and you don't listen to it and you do miss it, you miss a very large chunk of Tenenbaum's story. And it's really upsetting because that's something that is important to the story. And it's something that they shouldn't have put down in like a pick-upable, an interactive item. It should have been something they did that Tenenbaum just told you. But we'll go ahead and listen.
I am back in Rapture after so many years. The little ones I rescued are grown up and think of me no more. After what I once did to them, it was a joy to be forgotten. But now, all around the world, children vanish by the sea, kidnapped. And so I return, in fear of what I already know. Someone is making new little ones, continuing my work, my sins. Even if I am to die for it, I must stop them.
See, now that's a very, very important dialogue, and it's something that she should have actually told you over the intercom, not something that you could find and pick up, which is unfortunate. But the reason I paused in this room is because, once again, lots more advertisements. Ryan Amusement's Journey to the Surface, an experience that no citizen of Rapture can afford to miss. Andrew Ryan. So basically underwater propaganda, which is totally awesome, because you'd have that, of course. You'd have underwater propaganda. And then we have Brain Boosts, Ryan Industries, Gene Tonic. Dude like being all awesome. Health and happiness through genetics. And there, a Rejuvena. I love this advertisement over here because it's so psychologically mesmerizing. Check this out. Limitless potential with plasmids, except its daughter looks exactly like mom. Or is it the other way around? And what I mean by that is, like, this whole advertisement, like, limitless potential, except they're exactly the same. There's absolutely no differences between the two. And it totally takes out this limitless potential. It's like, no, it's not. You're not showing limitless potential. You're showing rigid constraints to a particular style is basically what you're showing. And so it's an awesome advertisement because it's totally wrong. Totally wrong, and I love it. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but I'm kind of hoping that they did, because that is, like, really sweet. We have a rivet gun, a new weapon. We're not going to use it, of course. We're going to go with our Drillifier. Hey, kids! We're going to make excellent use of this dual-wielding technology that they added to BioShock 2. Personally, I don't think it was that important a thing, but it is interesting that they did add it, and it does make it look a little cooler. Ew, creepy seat. Supplies! Thrifty care. Safe, speedy, affordable. Just sit in a chair and we'll have you healed up. Now, this is an old advertisement. With Adam, there's no reason not to be beautiful. Dr. Steinman's Cosmetic Enhancements. Vitastat, feel better than ever. Yep, we know about that. Dandy Dental has the cure for what ails. Oral surgery and specialty. So afflicted with phasejaw jaw and scurvy. Scurvy, ugh. Eve, running on empty, fill up with Eve. Only the best for the discerning customer. So yeah, some new advertisements, some old advertisements. Do not disturb the little sisters. Now a word from Dr. Lamb. Shut up, Dr. Lamb. No one likes you anyway. Cute little things. Yeah, do not disturb the little sisters or Big Daddy will kick your butt. Alright, now I really want to point out this dialogue as well. Because this dialogue upsets me, if only because it reminds me of what could have been the most epic tale ever, and the writers dropped the ball really bad. So we're going to be following this story a little bit, but it is an upsetting ending for me. So Mark Meltzer.
Barely made it down alive, but here it is, and it's real. Rapture. This is where that thing took my poor baby girl. From what I saw in the sub, most of the city's in ruins. But there were lights here and there. And shapes moving. I'm rambling, scared, I guess. But maybe, if I find this Dr. Lamb I keep hearing over the PA, I'll find Cindy too.
So yeah, that's Mark Meltzer, and as you can see, his icon is colored versus the other icons, which are sepia in tone. And the reason why is because he is... I wonder if I can shoot that with this. Nope. He is from the surface, and his story comes from the website that was put up before the game was released, and you can follow his story. And his story ends where he comes down here to Rapture, which is totally awesome. But unfortunately, his story does not go in the direction I would have taken it, or in the direction I feel is worthy of how awesome it could have been. And that's like really bad for me. I mean, I don't like it, but you guys will have to make up your mind as we progress, because we will be following him throughout Rapture. Plasma Quick contains 25% more per bottle. When life begins to drag, flip the switch, enjoy Plasma Quick. And I think we have one more advertisement here. Wellness Station, $5 physical checkup, free first aid kit with your paid appointment. Adonis Luxury Resort, how sweet. That reminds me of one other thing that I was going to talk about regarding... Oh yeah, the portraits. And what was to load this up again? So you have the portraits here. And as you can see, his portrait is colored, and the other ones, as I said, are sepia tone. And they did change the portraits for this game.
This is where
you could say that maybe the portraits are prototypes or something like that. But honestly, I think
from what I saw in the sub,
the portraits themselves
are...
I like the newer ones, honestly, in comparison to the old ones, because the new ones are more realistic to me, and I like that.
Scared.
Hey, kid. So we have a little sister. And of course, where there's a little sister, there's usually a big one, too. Hey, kid. Very happy.
Big sister doesn't want you playing with me.
Big sister could eat it. What's up, sis? So here's our first big sister fight. And I think I should switch weapons. Because her up close and personal, not super great. Get off me, kid. Ow. Can't take it. I need to use a first aid kit. Yeah, this is one of those fights, not really a good fight for me. Yeah, we are so losing this fight. Ow. Don't stand in the water, Big D. Ow. Yeah, we're probably gonna lose this fight really bad if I'm not super careful. Need a drill. There's a Vita chamber. I really don't want to lose this fight. There you go. Oh, is she gone? Whew. To barely... That's what hard mode gets you. Barely got her down. Had to go hunting for a health kit before we died. Yeah,
This is
scary
Dr.
stuff.
Sophia Lamb with a message for the people.
Okay.
Remember, Big Sister is always watching. To steal Adam is to steal from the Rapture family. Your family.
Yeah, well, you know what? Shut up. That's really weird, because that button does both things. Yeah, I gotta be more careful with that, because to melee, the melee button is the same as the zoom button. That's really odd. Adonis Luxury Resort. Oh, here we go. What is this, Winter Blast? Yes, keep it fresh with Winter Blast, or use a refrigerator like normal people. We got some stuff over here we can search. Perfect. So yeah, as I was talking about the images, and I know I was talking over Meltzer, which is kind of annoying. I do like the new dialogue images over the old, because it makes the people look more realistic in comparison. Like, the old ones were more cartoonish, I think. And as you can see, here's a perfect example with Andrew Ryan, I think.
Diane insisted that we spend a weekend at the Adonis, and already I find myself seeking a respite from my vacation. She deems it necessary to chide me for working. The words dissolve into an endless animal bleat. I founded Rapture to be free of law and God, to live among those for whom work is our wage. Yet, when Diane speaks of bearing my child, I am given pause. Till now I had never considered my legacy. Perhaps after the new year.
Yeah, perhaps, Ryan, but we all know that's not going to work. So it's nice that he mentions his legacy when we know exactly where that ends up. Cocktail Lounge. So yeah, if you notice Ryan's face, he's much more sunken, much more older looking, much more tired looking, and that portrays their emotions a lot better than the kind of happy-go-lucky looks that they had previously in the other, in BioShock 1. And so it's like little things like that make this game so much more atmospheric than the last one. So we have Demeter Banquet Hall. Oh, sorry, Demeter's Banquet Hall. Very, very Greek god here. And I just want to show you guys one more thing before we mosey. If you guys remember from BioShock 1, we had the slow down Mary things. So here we go, slow down Mary, a rapture reminder, slow down Mary, take care of yourself, that's the rapture way. And this advertisement here is so wonderful in the fact that it basically shows the portrayal of women in the early days, in like the 50s, 40s, and 50s. Because if you look at this woman, she's like, it even shows her stocking is like half hanging down. So her stocking's half hanging down, her skirt's all out of alignment. She's got, she's limp-wristed. She's got like a finger, like, into the air, just staring off into the sky. And she's about to walk into a manhole, which of course awesomely says men at work. And then you have this dude over here who's just watching her. He's like smoking a cigarette, strutting himself, all clean and perfectly tidy. And she's like, hey, you know what? You're kind of an idiot. And this advertisement is really awesome in the fact that is how they portrayed women in a lot of advertisements and things. Women were in the kitchen and women were silly and dopey, and if it wasn't for the man hanging around to save their butts, they wouldn't be worth anything. And it's really great that they put the advertisements in there. It's not great that we've had advertisements like that, just so you guys know I'm not a chauvinist pig or anything. I just love it when people stick things and make them historically accurate. Totally awesome. But before we go into Demeter's Banquet Hall, we are going to pause here because we have gone a little bit over time with all this explaining. And as I said, as we continue forward, hopefully I'll explain less and we'll play more. Please wait to be seated, absolutely. So once again, I would like to thank you all very much for joining me, 4KB Short, on this Let's Play of BioShock 2. And I will see you next video.